People think that vinyasa or power vinyasa can't be real yoga. I think we've had a lot of bad experiences in classes like this, or also good ones, but the bad ones show us that it's just a workout and we don't leave with all those benefits that we think of as real yoga. We don't feel less stressed. We don't leave feeling like our nervous system got a reset. We don't feel like that ooey gooey, floaty feeling after yoga in some power vinyasa classes or just energetic classes in general. Now, I love an energetic, music driven vinyasa class that makes me sweat and that might be hard physically. And these classes can totally still have those benefits of yoga that we like integrating philosophy, making us see life in a different way, having us leave more excited and energized about our life. These classes can totally have us leave feeling like our nervous system got reset or like we understand how to connect to our breath or our own intuition better than when we came in. It is totally possible. So, today, we're going to go over 3 ways that you can make sure that your vinyasas are those deep, rich, transformational experiences that your students are eager to come back to because they got so much out of it way beyond a workout. Ready? Let's dive in. Okay, 3 principles. One, make sure your music tells a story. So this is where I see a lot of teachers go south and miss the mark on getting this energetic. It can be a themed class that involves popular music or 90s hip hop or all the things, and you can still get that juicy stuff from yoga out of these classes. So, key is making sure that your music tells a story. And really, what we're saying by that is making sure that your music is accommodating what the nervous system is asking for. So, your students are coming in wanting to be met where they're at, wanting to build to a peak and have that peak exciting moment. Because if they signed up for Power Vinyasa, sorry, my camera shook. Um, that means that they do want something energetic. They didn't sign up for yin. They signed up because their nervous system is saying, I need to get something out. I need to move. So let them move. But you need to mindfully kind of build them up to that chance to move, that chance to sweat. And then importantly, your music needs to keep telling that story and bring them down gently to get to Shavasana. So it really, really helps. Here's my tip. Start off slow and twinkly in your music. Slowly build it up so you can get to that bumpin' 90s hip hop favorite track ever. But then you need to bring them back down, just like a storyline. Just think of a story. There's a clear beginning that's slow, a middle that's your climax, and an end. If you do that with your music, without you knowing a whole lot more about what to do with the nervous system, and there's tons more to know, you are accommodating the nervous system getting to reset simply by building your playlist like that. It'll change the game. Try it. Let me know how it goes. I would love to know how it goes if you're not building playlists like this yet. Game changer. Second thing, you can teach the craziest, wildest, mostly side planks, all balancing postures, chaturanga like exercises. You know, you can go wild. It can be the craziest workout ever. And if you facilitate a slow, steady breath, people will leave thinking that was real yoga. I feel better. I got something out of that that I didn't do at work when I was stressed all day. That was different than taking care of my toddler, right? If you don't facilitate that slow, steady breath, they might feel like they're still taking care of their toddler and it's stressful. The big key in yoga that is different than our HIIT workouts and our Pilates and going for a run often is that you have one of us, a guide, saying slow inhale, slow exhale. Especially if you're guiding Ujjayi breath, that can be a game changer. So, second point is if you're slow guiding that slow, steady breath, you can have Katy Perry playing, you can have whatever playing in the background, and it can be creating this energy that supports them doing 5 chaturangas in a row, which is what they signed up for. So, give them what they signed up for. They want to move. Their body is saying, I need to get something out. And while that fun song is playing in the background and we're doing all these chaturangas or we're whatever we're doing, if we're slow guiding, exhale, inhale, and breathing just through the nose, it will reset their nervous system. This is key. This is how we do one of the best things that we can do as a yoga teacher, which is meet people where they're at, which might be I don't want to do boring yoga. I need to go to a workout. I can't just, a slow yin class is hard for a lot of people. It doesn't meet them where they're at. For some people, it's exactly what they need. But there's so many people in our society that are type A and moving and like going down from what they did at work all day is a power vinyasa. That's where they get down. That's the only access to like, we're going to start to calm down a bit. They're like, I'm definitely not going to go lay down and do restorative to yoga music. Can't do that. That's like off the table for me. But 90s hip hop yoga, that sounds kind of fun. I could maybe do that. And they need to move to get to the place where they can get to my third point, which is about shavasana. In order then for them to even access shavasana or be ready for it at all, they need side planks, they need hard standing postures, they need all of that. We're meeting them where they're at and helping them get to a place of more calm. So to meet them where they're at, it's got to be, this is my example for the day, but like 90s hip hop or whatever it is. It has to be fun, but we're still going to guide them to the place that will be helpful. And the way that we do that is keep playing that fun music, breathe, slow breath in, slow breath out. So that's our like, hey, welcome to being intuitive with your breath. But I'm going to make it accessible for you by keeping this fun. This is still power vinyasa. This is still what you signed up for. If you try to force this type A person that's signing up for 90s hip hop yoga, if you force that person to go to restorative with no music, they're not ready. It's not helpful. It's not meeting them where they're at. So, second point is guide the breath. This is our best tool to help somebody in this category start to access more ease, start to access more stress relief in their life, which is one of the big benefits of yoga. Okay, and then third thing that you can do to make power vinyasa real yoga, don't skimp on shavasana. If you're multitasking or sort of paying attention, but you're a yoga teacher and you care about this stuff, pause, write this down. Don't skimp on shavasana. Say it to yourself 3 times. Don't skimp on shavasana. Everything can go so well. You can guide the best class ever. It can integrate some of your wisdom. It can be just the best playlist ever. And if you skimp on Shavasana, it does something to the nervous system it jolts them out of the experience. And then it just doesn't work. The whole experience is kind of punctuated by Shavasana. So, what do I mean by don't skimp on Shavasana? Couple things. One, going back to point one, make sure the music is now coming down. If we're asking, so I'm going to back up. Shavasana is super important because what it does is it allows them to integrate the experience. And if they don't get to integrate the experience, that's why it falls flat. So we need to do all the things that are like, hey, we calmed your nervous system down. We're breathing together for 45 minutes or an hour or 75 minutes. And now we're going to integrate that so it makes a difference and it lands in your body and you can walk into the world differently. This is what has people be like, I got to get back to his class. I got to get back to her class. So, to make sure that it lands in their body, Shavasana is a rest pose. It is the only chance that we really get to give somebody who signed up for Power Vinyasa that stillness, that chance to rest. And the reason why it's at the end is because in theory, they needed all of that fun and that work and that sweating, and they needed to be guided to slowly breathe for that much time before they can lay down. You could go experiment. Anybody who's signing up for Power Vinyasa, say, hey, y'all, instead of starting off with some cat cows or whatever your sequence starts off with, let's start with a 10-minute Shavasana. I would bet you that they'll be fidgety, they'll be frustrated, they won't be able to access stillness of Shavasana. Now, after the whole arc of the class, many people are going to be able to be still. And of course, we're going to be empathetic and generous towards the people who can't be still because that's why they're there. They're at your Power Vinyasa class because they're having trouble being still and calm in life, right? So if you're fidgety, it means please come back next week. If you like this, come back next week. Ask me for a playlist suggestion so that this is even more fun for you. You need this, right? So, Shavasana is our chance. With this in mind, if this is our chance to show them still, to show them integration, music, don't make it a beat bump and song. We already did that. That doesn't tell the story very well if you're back to beat bump and music. Even a little bit of a driving beat that's going to have somebody tap their toe. Like, think about the people in class that are most sensitive to music. There are going to be people who are really involved in your experience, and you want them to have really started to like feel the music in their body because that's part of accommodating their nervous system. Ideally, they are not blocking out parts of the experience right now. Ideally, the music is a big part of their experience. So, if it is a big part of their experience, if you play something that they could kind of tap their toe to, ideally, they would kind of dance to that. Now, is that what we're guiding as a way to be still and integrate? No. Take out all the beats in the music. This should be slow and twinkly and help you just zone out. Integrate. Sleep music. No dancing here. You could have danced so much at the peak of your class, right? This is important. And if you can play the weekend and something that you could dance to and nobody notices, you might not be accommodating their nervous system and kind of helping them get to Shavasana well enough if they're zoning out of parts of the experience, right? Ideally, it matters to them that you're going to now play music that allows them to absorb Shavasana. This is so important. No toe tapping. This is music you could sleep to. Also, don't make it too short. 1 minute is too short. You can say that like Shavasana could be like a tenth of the class or whatever. When I was teaching in New York City, we could get away with about 3.5 minutes. These are people who are racing around the city all day in so many ways. So 3-ish minutes was pretty good for that population. If you're in a slower community, like a smaller town, or people are just going at a slower pace, more like 5 minutes is amazing. Power vinyasa with a 7.5 to 10 minute shavasana. Ugh, if it's accessible to your people, great. So you just kind of need to know what's accessible to your people and push it. Try to give them a nice long shavasana. Anything less than 3 minutes for any population is too short. You've lost the battle, is how I would say it. I mean this, I think this is really, really important. If you give them the best experience ever and a 1 minute shavasana, it's usually not enough time for them to integrate the experience and feel better leaving your yoga class. So don't skimp on shavasana. Another thing, the last thing I'll say about shavasana is this is their time to integrate. It can be really ideal if you trust them to integrate. This is their time. So, I have a lot to say about when you talk and when you don't in Shavasana, but for most people, unless they're just struggling completely to be still, if they're so struggling, they need to hear your voice. Most populations that sign up for like an all-level Power Vinyasa, they can, at least 70% of the room is going to get so much out of your quietness during Shavasana, so they get a chance. It might be the hardest part of class for them, but as a teacher, you're there to help their life be better. And if they get a chance to do whatever they need to do in Shavasana on their own, you got to talk about alignment. You got to integrate your philosophy. You got to tell your jokes. You got to do all that stuff before. By the time we get to Shavasana, this is their quiet moment, also meaning you be quiet. Could be really helpful. So, as much as is accessible for the population that you teach, the more quiet you can give them, great. And you'll know there's some populations that really need a nice guide into it. They need to hear your voice in the beginning, but can you give them some time of quiet? Okay. Those are all my thoughts. I love Power Vinyasa. I love an energetic class with a music theme. And I think it totally can be a doorway for people to have more calm in their life, to reset their nervous system, and ultimately open them up to all the benefits of yoga physically, mentally, spiritually. Let me know how this goes for you. Try some of this on. You can find me on Instagram and let me know how it goes. I always love to talk to yoga teachers. Hope it helped.